It was a king marriage love no sum, a sermon chorus sing. Dr. Martin Luther Tsar was cited in a hot address and a youthful pair was joined in a wedding how will changing a honorable establishment ever. The wedding of the six in link to the altar to Meghan Markle, a biracial us, saw the UK autocracy convert in thing more than member of its human beings rather than it has been up. On the paved gateway of Windsor, amongst the snaking inland of human beings who rotated out to commemorate, down there was a feeling of lot how the latest term of the king household had reinvigorated this company. He's nice down there's variety in the king household, it tool a many, told Abha Trivedi, a Californian who had relocated to London 2 weeks ago and slept night on a armchair for a main place of the king parade. Diljit Sidhu, of Southward Asiatic legacy but of Langley Close Windsor, supported such a sentiments. As Asians he's essential, the 41-year-old told. I was unborn and brought up there, but you were ever various. 10 years ago you wouldn't include mine the would occur. Pageant in greatness lot has been speak and spelled on of the latest term of king household trembling up the institution. But for all how was various on the king marriage down there was yet the splendor and term of old royal power. It was an flawlessly choreography marriage. A marcher gang paraded via the gateway, aristocracy arriving and dead in supersized hats. Controlling the facility was the Metropolitan of Canterbury. No one does pageant in the greatness of the UK. It comes by dignity of hundreds of years of experience. An alleged 100,000 had lowered on the scenic city 20 miles western of London on a brilliant springtime day to eyewitness a marriage how has fascinated not just the population of the UK but millions about the planet. Of Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland to Ghana, the joint state, Switzerland and Australia, thousands were fascinated by heritage and glamour. They on the lining the paved gateway, snacked on sandwiches, drank pims and waited and waited, and waited, for a opportunity to say I was down there. Down there was pleasure, dizziness and lot devotion for the pair, now one of the planet's largest strong and powerful pairings. In the portion of England, for Saturday at Low, all was a cavalier and love. 73-year-old Australia Carleen Pun had been asleep on the gateway of Windsor for 2 nights to provide she was in main stance to eyewitness her 8-king marriage. Why does the UK autocracy tempt and fascinate so lot? Possessing a king household as chief of a nation is stabilizing, explainable pun. Or Meghan is a breathing of crisp airborne. For history is solar, of the Dominican Republic but in London newcomer friends, it was an prospect to expertise thing normally seen in Disney movies. He's not frequently how you see a duke get marital, she told. She was fair a regular lady. Loving and Britishness, although residing emergency extraordinary and privileged lives, it is the brothers' capacity to seem as routine men that has helping the household surmount the bustling definitive many decades of the recent age. Images of the youthful princes walk triumphantly over their mom's tomb stay firmly corroded in the ram, so down there has ever been lot goodwill for the boys who include now found loving and marital female deliberate inconceivable as alleged king brides just a general back. My mum was a big fan of Diana and we got grown on how Harry has his mom-like ways in the social. Same's a human beings as man, told Diljit Sidhu. For all the bluster, for all the millions consumable, there was a day for all generations and all human beings. Windsor was imbued in the audio of enthusiastic cheers and exultation in a festivity of loving and Britishness. On the treeland length go in front line of the loch, wherever the most of the marriage watchers congregated, families and friends collected to take, sip and side. Though at 9:01 m. a neat link had shaped for Chick and Fran's French fries of one of the lot meal trucks. Several wore dresses encouraged by the UK banner, other donned document crowns on their heads and just wavy flags to the turquoise heaven. Polish-born Angelika Kasperska had driven a stairway and binocular for the event, a wisdom go while necks had to be craned for a glimmer of the large and nice. Family play soccer and engraved balloons, time-roaring traders peddled Harry and Meghan scarves and flags to a mob thirsty for memorable trappings. The view of homelessness men, several asleep, several meeting on the gateway, was a reminder of the problems yet cladding the community, as it was 8 years ago, while the social sentiment of Duke William's marriage was weighted downward by economic downturn, joblessness, and strictness. Duke Harry has marital in the age of Brexit, and he and his new fiancée include proposed breathing space of the department How has created. Gasps of pleasure front of the right, down there was ovation of the crowd on the length go as big screening speak the at first glimmer of Duke Harry inbound in his sibling and top man Duke William. Both of wore the dress overcoat form of the blues music and royalty regiment, done specifically on London's Seville number. It was showtime. Marriage watchers gasped on at first view of the fiancée's gown, and down there was an here consumption of breathing while the boat train foundered. The mob cooed as the cameras flicked to a nerve-looking Harry and clapped as Duke Charles took Meghan by the arm up representing her to his child. The African-American Archbishop began and ended in a quotation of Dr. Martin Luther Tsar. He talked of detecting the expiatory force of loving. He compared the force of loving to the force of flame, aforementioned instagram, and inflicted a giggle while he pledged to packaging up his long solemn speech so we can get you to marital. Down there was a feeling how the mob on the length go did not aware which to do of the innovative time, but they restrained several of their loudest cheers for Harry on the finding of his preaching. The story, as the sermon chorus sing Stay By Me, the hordes pad the length go sing on to the choir of the 1961 classical. It was else sudden time. UK king weddings are normally packed complete of hymns. Never up include they been a multiculturalist festivity. Sleeping deprived and weary, the mob's power clearly abated before back to complete vote and renovated force, while Duke Harry walked out of the oratory hand in Meghan and embarked on a parade via Windsor's gateway and garden. The audio of applause rippled via the city as a fascinated social was taking into account its prospect to see man and woman in the body. How was so cold, told a youthful us as the pair gone in a equine-drawn Ascot Landau transportation, flanked by the domestic horse soldiers, Duke Harry's ex-regiment. The new princess may be as necessary to experience her king wavelength. It must be of the bracelet, ever of the bracelet. But contempt cannot be filled on an event such as the largest turnover. Harry told in his preaching, couple youthful human beings bring down in loving, and we all showed upwards.